Let me get my stuff. All right. Seeing as it's 10 o'clock, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Minutes of the previous meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additions or corrections to the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bills.
Move to approve. I do have some additional.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask right on the slide.
Bring them up when we go into yours, okay?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion or questions on the bills?
Just one question, Candy, I see the audit fee, $7,800. They never came up here.
That's just a progressive payment, so we'll be under budget. Yeah. I think they should be done in the next day or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think they usually charge us like $16,000.
How much?
16.
There's no travel expense up
Yeah.
this year. Hotel.
So we'll only 10.
Okay, further, excuse me, further discussion on the bills? Seeing none, roll call please.
Brett,
Aye.
Wakefield,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Lightcon.
Aye. Motion carries. Treasurer's checks.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Further discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of the agenda. Anything to add?
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, Sarah's up first. Good morning.
Good morning. So I just wanted to give a little update about what's been going on with Ramsey County Extension. And we've actually had a pretty busy summer. You know, things are a little bit different than what we would have done before, but we had our state communications arts contest. It would usually be right around fair time and at the fair, but this year it was virtually on Zoom, and we had 4 participants in Ramsey County compete in the state competition, which is awesome. And we had 1 place first, 1 place second, 1 place third, and 1 place fourth in their respective categories. So we had a really good showing there. We finished up our Ramsey County mini 4-H camps. We had a DIY camp and then a really fun clover bud camp. And the best part about that was when the kids got to make slime. So great fun was had there.
Yeah.
And then we are so glad that we were able to have our achievement days. There were some counties that did not even have an achievement days. So we ended up having about 400, almost 500 exhibits, which is a little over half of what we would have had normally. We had our livestock show a little bit differently. Bill and another ag agent, and the judge visited 10 farms overall, 2 days in July. And it was a lot of fun, he said. And our pet show, we still had a pet show. We had 6 different pets there on July 19th. Our static exhibits, we had over 200 exhibits and almost 100 Cloverbud, which is our beginner exhibits. So a really good showing for our static exhibits. Usually the kids are judged face to face, but instead we just had the kids drop everything off. They were judged the next day. And then everybody picked up their exhibits the next day after that. So we have all the pictures and everything on our Facebook page. And we had a lot of videos, live videos that day. So the kids were able to see their results that day. Our horse show, unfortunately, every time we have the horse show, it gets rained out. So we're still needing to finish that up. We got about halfway through. We're going to finish the horse show up on July 13th. So that will wrap up our achievement days. We still have 3 gardens going with our Junior Master Gardening grants. We've been donating a lot of produce to the summer meal program. That will finish up this week. And then after that, we'll just plan to donate to the Hope Center. And we are actually finishing up some Junior Master Gardening classes. We're glad we've still been able to complete those. We've had 12 participants with that, and they've been learning all sorts of things, from composting to terrariums to plant propagation to some good things there. So they'll get to take some produce home. Things are just going crazy out there. So keep your doors locked. The zucchini's going crazy, so we don't want any zucchini. Let's see. We're planning a 4-H recognition and a family fun night out at the park. Anytime that we have a gathering, we do have some paperwork that we have to have approved by NDSU. So that paperwork has already been approved. We're planning on having just small groups of 25 throughout the park and have little games and lots of hand sanitizer, social distancing, but we still want to have something to recognize our 4-H'ers for the year that they've gone through. And then one last thing, our state shotgun match is still going on for 4-H. That happens this weekend in Bismarck. We'll have 9 Ramsey County participants in that, and they've been practicing all summer, so we should have a good showing for that. And they'll be competing in trap, skeet, and sporting clays. And just to let you know, Cindy Olson from our office, they specifically called her from the state. She is running that competition. She's amazing. So kudos to her for doing that, and it should run very smoothly. So in a nutshell, that's extension. We've been busy, which has been good.
I've been hearing great things, so congratulations on your adaptability to the
Good.
difficult circumstances.
Yeah, we definitely
Well
had to do
received.
that.
Okay, any questions for sir? Okay, very good. Appreciate it. Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Sarah.
Roger, good morning.
Morning. Chris and I were talking yesterday, and incidentally, Chris did most of the legwork on this, about getting a new generator. A couple of weeks ago, that Friday, when it was so hot, the current generator ran into some issues. It managed to overheat itself, and I came up in the afternoon and just shut the air conditioning off the building to keep that from, I think that was, or that's a major power draw. Anyway, so we got some estimates for 300 kW generator that would run the whole building. And actually, it may also run, I'm sure it would run the heat at least over in the Memorial Building too. Memorial Building on a separate transformer than the courthouse. So we had power issues that day in the courthouse, but Memorial Building Armory was not affected. And way back in 99, we ran a line from the generator over to the basement of the Memorial Building, the old boiler room, just in case in 2010 we had any sort of power issues. So there's already a line, electrical line running over there, so hooking it up might not be, hooking up heat might not be too difficult, from the generator to heat for the water. Anyway, got a price quote of $62,000 here for the generator, but that does not include installation. And unfortunately, Tim Olson, the guy from Fargo who sent this back, we just got it this morning, is on vacation starting today, so we could not get an estimate on what installation might be.
He said he had to look at that as well, if you had to open up the windows or the louvers. The louvers on the building, they don't think are adequate for a current generator. Might be part of the reason why it overheated. So the big C9 cap would need bigger, larger louvers for air airflow. So he said it would be tough without handle.
Where is it located?
Generator, right out here, south side of the sheriff's office.
It's that little brick building.
That little brick building.
Oh, it's in that building?
Yes.
And our current generator is pretty old, correct?
To my knowledge, it was put in '83.
Is there an hour meter on it?
Yeah, there is. Just looked at it the other day, 253, something like that. It hasn't run many hours, but,
That's more than I thought.
it's 37 years old. So,
So it's been used some.
yeah,
So this is the low bid, Roger? Or is this?
well, this is the only bid we got. This is just an estimate to try and have some place to start.
You don't have this in your budget.
No, I talked to Candy yesterday to see if we could put this into the, not capital outlay, but building improvement, whatever we call it. Just another, and I had talked to Candy about 80,000 yesterday, and we should probably go with at least that, to include installation, if we decide to go this route.
I know those figures you were giving me yesterday on the phone on how big a machine this is and how much we need. What were those figures again? Do you have them with you?
Kilowatt wise, you mean?
Yeah.
Chris had talked to the Otter Tail, and they said our maximum draw in 2018 was 194 kilowatt. And Tim Olson, the salesman representative here from Butler, thought a 250 kW would be adequate to handle that, but I was thinking that if we wanted to try and power the memorial building also, we could try to stick with at least
300.
That 194, that's just the courthouse, that has nothing to do with the memorial building.
Right. But the memorial building wouldn't take a whole lot of power. It just isn't much there.
Yeah.
Depends on what's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
depends on the event, depends on the time of the year, like you said, in the winter, in the
Right.
summertime, it doesn't take a whole lot, but in the winter.
And even in the winter, I mean, other than the heat or air conditioning, whichever, and lights, and I mean, that just isn't nothing, I'm sure, compared to the courthouse.
Oh, yeah.
So the one we have now, is it totally shot?
Well, no, I'm not saying that. It overheated the other day, that Friday, and I started up again Monday, and it started up just fine and ran, but I think it just started and stopped so much that one day that it, just managed to overheat, so.
Well, it's probably something that we could sell at the surplus sale, auction off.
Somebody might, not many people looking for those.
Somebody might need a giant generator.
I wouldn't think it's very loud.
Go farm on it.
But anyway, this is just a thought, if we, we've talked in years past about getting a new generator, so. We actually had troubles with this one, so I'm really considering.
Yeah, and I think Butler's probably gonna be one of the only companies that we can actually deal with, just because
Well-
they're in the area and they do the service and.
Right, and he
you don't wanna
did say,
buy something
they
from
said
somebody.
those services for many years to come.
They would.
They have representatives in Grand Forks.
Yeah, they're very good about servicing.
Yeah, people in Grand Forks that
have to do just this.
Yeah, the county housing authority on the main building has one, and they come down once a year and do a maintenance.
They do.
Yeah, it's not, obviously, it's expensive, but it's usually not horrible. They're really good at making sure things.
You don't know how old that one is at.
I think probably 90s, but I'm not totally certain, to be honest.
Of course, we still need to get another estimate due to the amount that we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
And Chris, did Joe say last week when we were talking with him about this, if there was grants that he thought
If there was something available, we could maybe strive for, give them some grants.
Who told you that?
Joe Lease, the regional rep for the state.
But we haven't looked into that yet.
Currently, there's nothing available right now.
Nothing?
Not right now, no. It would be next year that we'd have to start looking. That grant process is already closed. Or equipment wise.
But there are grants that exist for this, it's just that they're tapped already.
They're already allocated.
Yeah, people are already got in line.
That's why it says for next year.
Right.
Okay, additional questions? Thoughts? Opinions?
Something like this, you definitely watch, they'll do the budget, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's worth looking into, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Or at least have somebody come up and look at our current situation and determine, if the generator is worth salvaging, if replacement is what we need to do, or maybe modifications to the facility so that, like you said, airflow and things like that. So maybe having the guy from Butler come up and take a look at it, and give us an idea of what his thoughts are on it would be a good place to start. But it's good to have at least a ballpark on what the cost will be so we can build it in. So if it's something we're gonna have to replace, we can do it next year.
you know how big the current generator is as far as kilowatts? 100?
Yeah.
See, it's only designed to do, at the basement here for the emergency operations center. And then a while back, we put in second floor because of some of the medications that health department was having and the need for refrigeration on that. So it doesn't do the entire building.
It was never designed to.
And it was never designed to, right?
Yeah, we added in the second floor, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I suppose it was about that.
Well, that 100 kilowatts in 1983 went a lot longer than now, when you've got
Yeah.
computers plugged in everywhere, and I mean,
Yeah.
none of that was around back then to have to draw energy.
Right.
And that's kind of the thing, and Candy called me that Friday afternoon and said, we don't have power, the generator won't kick in, what do we do? I mean, when stuff shuts down, you can't operate anymore.
You didn't wanna go outside or picnic either.
And some of the automated features that this one would have, that the old one would not currently.
Undoubtedly, there's a lot of areas.
Well, I think it would definitely be an upgrade, there's no doubt about that. Like you said, it would be nice to have the whole building covered.
Who else do we look for to get a bid out?
Cummins would be the next one. They're the two big generators around the area.
Then there is the Generac too, whether or not. I don't know where they're located, but that is another Generac.
Well, we should make sure we have enough in the budget for it, and then advertise for bids. I think that's what we should do. Put it all competitively.
We have to, yes. We're gonna do this backwards. We need to know if we even have money to start with. I realize we need bids to figure out how much money we need. I don't know how soon that we have to have a lot of money in before the end of this year. You know what I'm
First
saying?
meeting in September, we have to have our preliminary budget ready.
Okay.
And finalize it, first meeting in October, so.
Okay.
We can't go up after September. But I think we could put in a ballpark figure and.
See if we can come up with by September 1st.
But no,
We can put in a ballpark figure and have it in our budget, cover the majority of it anyway.
Okay, additional thoughts, questions? Okay, seeing none, I guess that's what we'll do.
All right.
Thanks, Roger. Thank you, Chris. John, welcome.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And these pictures in the back to just look at. I'm not here to ask for money, yes. I'm liking you more already.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. All I'm doing is letting you guys know what's going on. I kind of pick your guys' brain a little bit, that's why I'm here. Our old building, if you've seen it, we got our new building a couple years ago. We're in that now, and what we're looking for is a place to train, not just for EMS, but for fire and for police department. So we kind of got together and decided we want to get together and all train in one spot at the same time. Currently, we train in kitchens. We are fortunate at Ambulance Service that we have a small room that we use for our board of director meetings. It's enough to get half of my staff in at a time, not my full staff. And when we train our EMTs, we don't have enough room. So what my board of directors would like me to do is to see the feasibility of us utilizing our old building. We've looked at the old building, it's cleared out, we haven't had any bids on it. So they're seeing if it's gonna be beneficial to the community if they donate it to the community. But their biggest concern is liability. So they don't wanna be liable for any accidents that happen there. Same with the fire department, same with the city. Nobody wants liability. So we're thinking about, and I've talked to a lawyer that we're gonna try to get our own 501c3 just for the training facility. So that way it's not owned by county, city, ambulance. It's one big, huge group of people that have its own board of directors. What I'm coming to you guys for is to see, we've been doing grants for all the building of everything, and we're trying to see what we have available, and we're doing all the work ourselves. That's not what I'm here for. It's the ongoing expense. It's the maintenance of it, because this will be a 501c3, and most of the training is going to be done for free. We're doing it to outside communities, Munich, Dakota, Spirit Lake Nation, and frankly, my board would not like to pay since we're donating a whole building, and so monthly comes out to like $258 a month. So my only question for you is to get your thoughts. Is it something that we can actually go for? Bring up to the public for a small levy just to pay for our overhead.
What was the monthly estimate, Sean?
Very first page, $258.
Yeah. So basically, you're figuring utilities and everything involved, maintenance, upkeep is gonna be about 93, about 10 grand a year, something like that.
Yeah.
Between the entities that are utilizing it.
Yeah, and for a lot of us guys, I really am looking to try more grants for it, to try to get our overhead for it. It's just nice to have that little back of county and city. Is this something that we could go for? This is my question for you guys. Is this something we could go for a levy for a small amount?
It would be a big benefit to the ambulance.
To ambulance, fire, and to the city, or to all the police departments. Because we teach, I teach my EMS courses to police and fire. Fire is gonna be holding like their regional fire classes here. The police department, we're putting a lot of programs in there, a lot of training things. There'll be a lot of places for the police department to go train. They've talked about a couple simulators. So it's not just Devil's Lake or Ramsey County, it's a lot of counties in the region. And it's all of our emergency services, it's not just ambulance. Search and rescue as well too, I'm sorry, I left them out.
And the figure you use is $258 a month?
Well, this is divided up into $258 per city, county, and then the ambulance, but the board of directors was hopefully that we didn't have to pay for it ourselves.
Okay. But $258 a month.
At the front page, I think I have the figures from the very bottom.
I would just.
Yeah, I think that's out of 3 entities, each entity is paying $258. Roughly.
And you're hoping that it would just be 2 entities.
Yes, and hopefully I can write a lot of grants and get some grants, but right now it's hard to get some of them unless it says COVID on it.
Andrew, additional questions? Excuse me again.
I think it'd be good.
Yeah,
Spend some money.
yeah, to me, for 5,000, or, you know, even if we split it between us and the city for $5,000 a year, we get a training facility and we help out the local rural ambulances and, you know, we get benefit for the sheriff's department as well as DLPD, and it seems like that's a pretty reasonable use of dollars, I guess. If we were going to fund something to that nature, would it have to be general fund dollars, or could we put it, you know, something like, since it's a training dollars, could we put it under the sheriff's department budget, or?
Just listed under miscellaneous general.
An option?
You're pretty solid on these figures?
That's what it's cost us for the old building. We've been in the old building, ran all of it. This is when we were at full capacity, that's how much we were spending on it.
It seems like a no-brainer to the county, I think.
Yeah, sensible to me. Well, it's one of those things that, you know, we could go out with hat in hand and try to get all the small rural fire and all this and stuff, and it's like, it's all coming from the same place to the point, why not just ante up some dollars and help everybody out and make sure we get good training? It just seems like a no-brainer.
I think you can definitely count on us as being an in here.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Let the chairman do that.
Now, we still got a ways to go before we.
Yeah, but, yeah, I mean, if it's anywhere in this ballpark, I don't think it's a question, we'll be on.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all your work.
Yes,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too, Sean.
Yeah, Kevin. Morning.
All right, project updates, our gravel projects. One on East Lawton, that's been done now. So, got a little rain on there the other day, helped pack it all in, so it's looking pretty good this morning. Pretty good. 9D, that's up there south of Hamden. We're gonna start doing that late this week. Summers is doing that one. And the Benson County line, close got that one, he's gonna start towards the middle or end of this month. Which works out good for us for the blade operators. Doctor issues now. Any questions on the gravel projects? Our bridge work, we should finish that up, this week. Going really good, the weather that's been, been lucky with the water, so. Yeah, they'll finish all of them this week, we'll be able to take our rented units back. We had originally rented them for another week, but so we're a week ahead of schedule there. Any questions about the bridges? That truck route, I didn't get a chance to drive out there this morning, but they did it, they told me they were gonna fix all those rough spots yesterday, they were gonna haul some gravel in there, and, what do you call it, scare fire it in, so it blend in with what's there. And then they're still gonna use it a little bit as a haul route, so they're gonna wait to put the base one back in later in the fall. But so for now, they wanna get enough gravel in there so it's smooth for all the harvest traffic. So that's the plan. I'm not sure if it got done today or yesterday or not.
They're not hauling out of that pit.
Right now, they're not, no, but they said they are gonna haul some more out of there.
They are.
Yeah. It's really hard again. I mean, the soft spots are gone, but there's like roller coaster. They only drive on. Any questions about that? And I got prices for chips next year. Dow Construction gives a quote of $17.25 a ton. And Strata gave us a quote of $18.50 a ton. That's prices delivered to Devils Lake. And I need 3,000 ton. So they'll cost, using gallons of low bid, they'll cost $51,750. I'd like a motion to go ahead and buy those.
Move to approve, or move to accept a low bid, I should say.
Okay, motion, do a second. We have a second, further discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign.
And also mentioned I was gonna get prices for the house and gravel into our stockpile in Devils Lake, just because we were not gonna have time to do it ourselves. Sober quoted us $11.25 a yard, and Post quoted us $9.75 a yard. The difference is the mileage. Closest pit was that much closer in miles. And I'm planning to get about 750 yards if there's room. So depending on how much room we have in the yard, that'll cost $7,312.50.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to second to approve, excuse me, a little bit from Post for gravel, further discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign. Cares.
Also, I got a couple other things. We got a bill for our John Deere payloader, repair bill. It was $5,193. There was some extra mileage on there for when he went out to the pit to see what was wrong with it. And then some, about another gallon of oil, so that's why the bill is a little bit higher than what the quote was, the estimate to repair. So I'd like a motion to pay that bill for $5,190.93.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion to second to pay the repair bill on the payload, further discussion. Hearing none, roll call please.
Frith,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Wakefield,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye.
And on Friday, we got a bill from DOT for their paving on Ramsey County 2 with the Elks Drive. This is for estimate 1 and 2. It's not final bill yet, but it's the big share of it. And this bill was for $424,626.16. And just a heads up, there's gonna be a little bit more following these bills. That's not the final bill. Give us those numbers again, $424,626.16. We had that at like almost 50, not quite 50-50 last year. We borrowed ahead on our federal dollars to help pay for that.
Okay. Entertain a motion to pay the bill, I guess.
So move.
Okay.
We have a motion in a second, so pay DOT for paving bill on 22 and Elks Drive. Further discussion or question? Seeing none, roll call please.
Olson,
Aye.
Wakefield,
Aye.
Frith,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye. Motion carries.
And last thing I got, the bill for the gravel for the Dvorak over on 8 east of Lawton. That was $3,624.52, which was a little bit less than we had estimated. I made a motion to pay for that.
Second.
Motion is second to pay the gravel bill for Dvorak on 28. Further discussion or question?
Just one question. Did they pull that gravel out of Fordville then from there? Is that where they come out of?
I don't know if it's Porterville, but it's that area. It doesn't sound right. Adams, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's kind of east of Adams, in that Adams Lincoln style over there.
Pretty good gravel.
Yeah, yeah. It's screened, it wasn't crushed, but, you know, we were trying to fix the soft spot, so I mean, it's gonna work for that.
Yeah, it was a little powdery when they were beating the heck out of it again when they were coming across. Like you said, a good rain would help drive that in, right, kind of get it formed up. Need some rain. Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
Brown,
Aye.
Wakefield,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye. Motion carries.
That's all I have for now.
Okay,
Kevin?
thank you.
Questions from me?
Questions? Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, unfinished business, 19 discussion. I guess I don't have a whole lot to add. We had a discussion obviously last meeting about a little bit about two different topics about the testing and then the, you know, what are the parameters going to be for if we want to go back by appointment only. I thought we had the first question kind of answered, but not now. The law enforcement center was going to allow us to piggyback on their testing, I should say, on their testing when we had a question in-house or something like that, but that doesn't sound like that's going to work anymore. So we might have to go back to the drawing board on that a little bit. But the standard testing protocol is pretty straightforward. So if public health says we need a test, we'll get a test, and otherwise we'll just have to kind of go from there, I guess. In regards to the protocol for if we wanted to go back to by appointment only, I don't have anything specific put together yet. I have been scouring the internet trying to find good information as to how to make that decision or when to make that decision. I've looked at the governor's the Smart Restart guidelines. Obviously, everybody knows they've got I don't know what they call it, like a meter thing about your risk assessment or where we're at. We're still technically in green, which if you look at the protocols on the standards to where we're supposed to be on green, it's kind of baffling to a point why we're still in the green. But, so I don't know how much that's going to be useful in making the decision on the process. I understand, because it's a subjective thing. There's no objective measure on to why that makes a difference on the restart type of thing. So it's a lot of science and a little bit of art, unfortunately. So I don't really have a good rationale for when we should make a decision that way, other than to say I think we'll just kind of, I mean, it's not just no situation, but we can look at the positive test, we can look at all those kind of things and see where we're at. The one thing I would like to do at some point here in the future is work with Steve and maybe send out, you know, the most important thing is health and safety of our employees and the people that are coming into the building. Maybe send out a survey and see how our employees, like a web link survey, and see how our employees feel about how things are going, how, you know, safety in the building, how they feel with protecting their health, things like that. So at least we have a little bit of a feel where the staff is at. And that would maybe help inform our decision a little bit if we had to go back to by appointment only. I know some, Jeff shared an article yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah. Ward County went back to court, is not going to have jury trials, I think.
I think all trials
All
are
trials.
suspended till the end of August, 23rd of August. Or
Yeah, that's
something like
right.
that, because they had an employee that tested positive.
Yeah.
And Pembina County shut their courthouse down again yesterday to appointment only. Again,
Who shut it down?
Pembina is back to appointment only. I think there's kind of and some counties have never kind of went off appointment only. Some of that is, some of the counties have different circumstance, obviously, like we've talked about screening capabilities at the door and stuff that we don't have. But it's kind of a mishmash. Some counties doing some things, some counties doing other things. So there's no real clear guidance as to what route to take other than to where we feel comfortable, I guess. You know, what our level of comfort is on what we're doing now versus what would, preclude us from continuing to do what we're doing. So, input, feedback from the staff as well as the commission is obviously always welcome. If you have a concern or a question, just yell at me. I'm still trying to kind of wrap my head around how to make that decision more, because, I mean, technically, we're running in Ramsey County not too bad right now, but we have counties around us, obviously, that are having some pretty high positive rates. Obviously, just because you've got a fairly decent positive rate now doesn't mean it's not going to be really bad next week if it blows up or something, so we don't know exactly how it's going to function yet. That's kind of where I'm at on it. I'm still, so basically what I'm saying is I don't know if there's going to be a specific protocol in place. It's going to be more when things start to ramp up, if they do ramp up coming in. That's my concern, is coming into school, coming into flu season, coming into fall. We're not going to have a clue when somebody's sick, if it's COVID, if it's flu, if it's common cold, coming into this September, October type of November time. So it's going to be really difficult for the staff to discern. And again, it comes back to the policy of if you're feeling ill, pretty straightforward. But then it comes down to, okay, how much of the public is going to heed that advice? And how much are we going to be comfortable with the general public coming into the building during those seasons when we generally ramp up. So I think we're okay for now, is essentially what I'm getting at, but it's something we're going to have to keep a real close eye on and kind of make a decision going forward and continue to talk about it. Thoughts, comments on that one?
No, I think it'll be critical that we're flexible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no real way of knowing how or when this thing will rear its head, and I have faith and confidence that while you may not have a protocol to follow, that you'll know it when you see it in terms of needing to take action.
I don't like subjective protocol. I like objective. You hit this, and this, and this is what we do. And
We all do.
yeah, I mean that's just how I like to operate. So that you'll know it when you see it type of thing always gets me a little. But we really do lack objective protocol when it comes to at least anything I've been able to find up to this point specific to North Dakota. Now, there might be other states that maybe have better objective protocol, and I haven't found it yet. But we're following, like we have in our standards now, we're following all the CDC guidelines the way we're supposed to for our offices. We're doing what we're supposed to do from a cleaning standpoint. I think, and I think that's why a survey of staff will be useful, because if the staff doesn't feel comfortable in the building, that tells us something. And if they feel comfortable, well, then at least we have an idea of where we're going. But it'll be good to get an idea of that. So I'm hoping to get something like that put together in the next week or two so we can get that out. There's routes to do it, survey them. We'll find a way to get it up to staff, and then we'll get some information back from them to see how things have been going, concerns, thoughts, comments. And we'll just have to kind of keep on top of it as we go forward.
Yeah, surveys are real easy to do.
Yeah.
It takes 5 minutes to set it up on one of those sites. And
so we'll put something together. We'll get some input just so we have some feedback, and then we'll next 2 weeks we'll kind of keep going as we're going unless something crazy happens, and then we'll follow up DB.
I have one thing, and we had the disaster or the COVID declaration. I know that's covered by the president, but we should probably extend our local one.
Yeah, so we can continue to tap dollars out of the emergency fund if we need to. I think that's reasonable. If somebody's willing to make that motion.
so moved.
We have a motion and a second to extend the disaster declaration for COVID-19. We can still tap emergency fund and things of such nature. We have to do additional cleaning supplies.
Chris, do we need to make that retroactive from the time we went on first shutdown, or I don't even know if we do that.
We actually had one in place.
Have one in place?
Yeah, we declared a disaster on that second meeting in March. So it would have been April, May, June. Yeah, so most of those are 90 days probably, so we're out past that. But We probably haven't had a lot of expense in
Right.
between.
Where are we with the, all the supplies that you were looking at? The just sanitizers, dispensers, and
Still in back order. My 3 cases of sanitizing wipes, I got 3 little bottles. And that was the only thing that came in and canceled that order. They said, we're not even gonna attempt it again. The dispensers are still back ordered. I can't believe it. But the Lysol wipes was 4 months to get. So, still have my fingers crossed.
Okay, further questions, I guess, on the motion?
Oh, what was, can we extend that beyond 90 days? Maybe, can we just extend it to the end of the year?
I don't know, what are our options, I guess, I'm not a, I skipped law school.
We'll remember to do it in another 90 days.
There you go.
Well, I think it's 90 days, don't quote me on that, I think it is, I'm not totally certain. Well, for now, we'll extend it, and we'll get a question then, or we'll get the question answered. Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The only other thing I will add, not to belabor the point, but if you guys have been getting, if everyone has been getting email and looking at it, apparently, it's in the pipe that the, I don't ever get my terminology right, but the emergency committee of the state approved yesterday or last week paying for all post-certified costs when it comes to law enforcement out of the CARES Act dollars. So all of our wages, benefits, and insurance costs are going to be covered from the beginning of the declaration in the state. So like March 1st until July, all of our sheriff's department costs will be covered. So we're gonna get a check to pay us back for all of those costs.
For everything?
For everything. All wage, all salary, insurance, and benefits, overtime benefits, anything that goes with that. They approved $54.2 million or something for the state. So we're gonna get a check back for that. I don't know what kind of money that's gonna be for us yet. They still have to have it approved through the budget section in next week or something like that. Because the emergency section has to, then the budget section has to approve dollars coming out. But it's looking like it's going to happen because the governor's backing it and everybody seems on board with it. So at some point, we're going to get some dollars back through the CARES Act to pay for law enforcement costs. So again, I don't know what that's going to come out to. I'm sure between Candy and Steve, they're going to have to look at the payroll, figure it out. And then,
No meeting.
it'll be, but then we have to submit it once it's approved. But they're talking that it's gonna pay from then until, all the way till now, it's just they're gonna do it in a couple of different payments, back payment, and then going forward, and then we'll submit every so many months, and they'll approve it apparently to a point, well, the declaration's still out there, so that'll be some money back in the bank, that'll be useful, so maybe we can pay for a generator. So, just so everyone's on the same page there. Okay, very good.
still, doing the same with the mask requirements for employees. Do we want to extend that to the general public coming in at all? Do we want to just,
I haven't heard from employees when they see meetings going on in meeting rooms, that people are sitting really tight, close together without masks. So I don't know if that's something you want to look at, that when they have a meeting, they have a mask.
Or just a reminder to, keep social distancing if we're not gonna have your mask on, make sure that we keep people safe and
Yeah.
still try to keep those meetings to, 10 or less and as best we can, since we're trying to follow the guidelines. From the standpoint of asking the public to put masks on, I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but the problem I do have with it is that the minute you put a Band-Aid on like that for the building, then if somebody's not going to do it, how are you going to enforce it? And how are you going to make sure people coming in the door actually do what you're asking of them? Because we don't have anybody at the door. counties like Grand Forks, Cass, they've been mandating it, but they have people at the door 24/7 to make sure that people come in, listen, and say, well, if you're not going to listen to what's been being asked, you're not going to be allowed to build. And we just don't have that capability currently, unless we decide to put somebody at the door, that or we'll run into the problem where somebody will say, I prefer not to wear a mask, and then we'll have to get into the question of who are we going to have enforce that guideline. I think it might lead to some difficulty, is all I'm saying, probably more harm than good.
What's the third floor doing there? They're doing it when they bring people in and out, or?
It's a good question. We had some questions about it initially. They were not following the guidance very readily. After discussing it with them, some back and forth, they said they would try better to follow the guidance. I don't know where they're at right now on it. I haven't been in the building very often just because I'm trying my best to stay out of here too.
Yeah,
Make sure that, people that don't need to be in the building don't need to be in the building. Try to keep everybody safe. But I haven't heard, I've heard the additional concern, that sometimes it's being a little lax, but, that being said, the last couple times I've been in the building, I've seen everybody in the hallways have their mask on, so. I think it's just having grace with everybody and just reminding people, hey, we're just trying to keep each other safe as best we can. That's all we can do. I don't know how to solve the problem. If we get, to me, if we think if it gets to the point where we decide we want everyone to wear a mask, then I think we're almost to the point where we have to say we can't necessarily control that very well, and we need to go back to by appointment only. And then if they say it's by appointment, then we require them to wear a mask when they come in, because they can't come in unless somebody lets them in.
Well, you're seeing a lot of businesses even here in town that are now requiring face masks. Walmart, I saw Holiday was. It's not like it's unprecedented.
No, and like I said, I'm not opposed to the concept. My only concern is what happens when you get those individuals that won't agree with it. Then all of a sudden you have an enforcement issue, and then how do you deal with it? Do you just kind of
ask them to leave, right?
Yeah.
Or we could provide masks too, but.
We do, yeah.
Well, we
right.
have been doing that, but.
Some people are just gonna be those people. I guess there's probably a nice way to do it, which is to say, is your business something that we can handle on the phone?
Yeah.
In which case, if you go ahead and leave and we'll take care of it, call you or you call us, one of the two.
I know we have several people stop in our office asking, is a mask required? And we were like, it's highly recommended. And they just turn around and walk away.
Well, that might be something that we ask of the staff too. Would you feel more comfortable if masks were required? Just recommended for the general public.
I think with the number situation, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Because we want to try to keep as many people in the building, employees, healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter how inconvenienced the public might be by, potentially not being able to come in for a meeting without a mask, they're gonna be inconvenienced more if the auditor or the treasurer or somebody gets coronavirus and is out for, multiple weeks. So.
Well, that's my concern as well, is that we have several offices within the building that are, really essential to the operation of county government. And with only a couple of employees within each department, if one comes down with it and the other one has to be quarantined because they had close contact with that other employee, is that office then closed, and how does that essential function continue?
Well, especially with the election coming up. God forbid some of these important people catch it and are out when that needs to be handled.
That is really, if you get sick, I have to be the auditor. I don't know how they're going to. Don't make me do it. I mean, again, yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. My only concern is then, what do you do if somebody is not compliant? Are you just gonna let it slide? Because if you're gonna let it slide, then at that point, then people realize that I don't have to do it. Because they're not going to do anything other than ask me. Leave.
Yeah.
And it's a public building, so we can ask somebody to leave because it is our premises, but at the same time, are you gonna forcefully remove someone?
I guess the only way to do that then effectively would be to lock the building down again and do it by appointment only.
That would be my preference, because all the offices would continue to stay open. People would only be allowed in for certain things, and then you would ask them to mask up at that.
Is it possible though, that even if you can't necessarily perfectly enforce it, that you will get a higher rate of mask usage in the courthouse if it were a requirement to the public, and therefore would that be a beneficial half step to take? And if we're still seeing significant problems, then I think you could go all the way to being closed on. And Crystal, you had something to say, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just gonna update you that we have had to quarantine 4 employees due to close contact, and it was close contact outside of the courthouse, and then also we have had a few scares with the public health being in the building. And just so, in public health would probably have a little bit more control of that if you did go to the by appointment only.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know if it was a miscommunication with the people coming in, and public health didn't know they were coming in, so.
Well, I'd make the motion that we start requiring the general public to wear masks on the premises, and we'll see, what degree that addresses the problem, at least for now, and if we need to address it with more stringent measures, we can do so.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Further discussion on the motion.
Is there a way you could do a temporary sign on that sidewalk loop before they actually get to the building and say mask required? And then it's their choice to come in and go back to their vehicle and get their mask, or go to their vehicle and make a phone call, or,
I'd like to make one comment. I mean, I think we should slow down a little bit here. There's other public institutions that are having a very difficult time with making decisions. I'm talking about the public schools on how to handle the situation of opening school. I don't think we need this facility locked down any more than what we have right now. Our numbers are not inflating by any means. And that was according to the governor's figures yesterday. Let's not put any more undue pressure on the school board on a decision that they're going to have to make, whether they open up our schools, which I hope they do, because distance learning does not work in my eyes. There's too many kids that are getting left behind. So let's not take action here that just puts other public entities in a position where they have to provide what another one is doing. Let's give the public school system this month to see how things go for them. I think things are going along fine here in the courthouse. Yes, we don't want somebody in one of the crucial offices to get COVID. Nobody wants it. But let's continue doing what we're doing, keeping our distance, washing our hands, wearing masks when they're appropriate. I just really think we should try to go along with that for now and not make a hasty decision here that's going to put other public identities in a position where they're going to have to react to what we're doing here in the courthouse. And I will vote no against any of that motions that have been made. So I just think we need to give the school board some rope. But it's going to be a very difficult decision to make. And every school board in North Dakota is having a hard time with it. You can see the TV clips, you can see what's in the papers. it's not gonna be an easy decision. Distance learning does not work. Too many kids are getting left behind, way behind. So let's let them do their job. Let's just relax. I think things are going quite well in Fort Hills, where I sit.
Trying to form my thoughts. I don't necessarily disagree with you, Ed, that we don't want to put undue pressure on anybody, but I look at it from the opposite direction.
Okay?
I don't think distance learning is the best option, but if we take the lead and mandate mask usage, we're giving them cover to say the kids who wear masks as well as the staffs, we can get back to school. Because that's one of the things that is one of the things that is going to be necessary, I think, and I know everybody hates it and I don't disagree.
I think you're right.
But mask usage is gonna have to be one of those things that's gonna have to be done in school, whether it's a hybrid type of thing or whatever. And I think maybe by taking the lead, we're giving them some cover and saying, hey, you don't have to be the first one to stick your neck out. And I understand it's not a lot, I mean, this whole thing is crap.
I agree with you, I understand.
And I'm glad I'm not in school.
It's not making it any harder than it is.
But, yeah, I don't know. It's a struggle regardless.
Some way we gotta get those kids back in school.
No, I
don't know
agree.
how to do it.
That, I don't know how I'm gonna distance learn from a combine.
It's not gonna work either.
No, I don't know how that's gonna work yet at this point, if that's gonna be what the option's gonna be, but we'll make do, we always do.
Maybe we'll have a vaccine before long.
Hope so, that's the hope, that's the hope.
Yeah, and my whole thought process on it is if we can help slow things down a bit and see those active numbers of cases that we currently have go backwards and lessen that, maybe we can, within 2 weeks or a month when school does start, we have better numbers within our county and we feel better about sending our kids and our teachers and our staff back into those buildings if we've done our part controlling it within our own community. Or slowing the pace anyway. I think it'd be a temporary deal at best. Nobody wants to wear these things on a permanent basis. But if we can slow things down until either they find a cure or it goes away on its own and runs its course, I'm not sure what the best option is, but just trying to keep people safe and keep those numbers going the opposite direction instead of having 17 active cases within Ramsey County like we currently have. We were shutting things down in March when we had no cases active in the county.
We've learned a lot of things from March.
We have learned a lot of things.
You want a sign on the sidewalk, let's put a sign up that says, to the person that's walking up the sidewalk, is there any way you can do your business from a phone? We would be much more receptive to that. Or is there, maybe Candy can answer that question. Is there a lot of people that come in and want something like the auditor's office, but we could have did this over the phone? Or isn't there? I don't know. Maybe that's steer some of the way.
It's just
we
the,
could
it's just
use the
the,
phone first,
yeah, it's the 5-minute question that, oh, hey, I was driving by.
looking for somebody to talk to. Yeah. How you want to word it, I don't know. Something like that would probably help outside the courthouse, I would think.
Some hybrid version of what we're doing. I think you're right, and we gotta get school back up, and distance learning does not work. And I think it's not just for the educational purpose of it, but the overall mental health of the students and the health, nutrition, everything that goes along that the schools do provide the students. It has been affected since March.
I'll lighten it up a little bit. I run into 2 individuals, males, in the last few days. And they have, I don't know how old the kids are, I take it they're like 10 or 12 or 15 or whatever. And they were both boys, single out boys, and I would probably be just like them. And both these individuals said that distance learning did nothing for my kid. I mean, nothing.
Yeah.
And they are totally against it. So I think it works like Adam says for some it just, they gotta be in the classroom, you know? And they were upset, these two parents were upset. I said, I kind of looked at them and I said, well, maybe we were all like that. Maybe distance learning wasn't gonna work for us either.
I think, I mean, not that we have a motion to legal request, but I think the one thing, if there's a silver lining from this whole thing, we need to take from it is we don't take things for granted that we have. And that the education of our kids and stuff is so vital, and the schools provide so much. And we just kind of think, kids go to school. When we start talking about they can't maybe go to school, it totally changes the mindset of, you know, so think a teacher, I guess, is what I'm saying, and think the administration.
Teachers got their hands full, there's no doubt.
Okay, anyway, there's a motion on the table for mandatory mask usage in the courthouse. Further discussion.
I would just like to make a comment. You know, my question is, how are you going to enforce this? Walmart's not enforcing it. Holiday's not enforcing it. Like you said, Holiday has it. I go to Holiday every day. You're just kind of setting yourself up for more hassles, if that's the right word. I don't know, you know how you're gonna.
I don't see what's lost though. You know, I mean, yes, you're right. Unless you're literally gonna throw someone out of the courthouse.
And it's gonna come to that. There's gonna be adamant people that are gonna say, no way.
Sure. And there are those types of people that interact with everyone all the time.
That's true.
I think, you know, let me give you an anecdotal example. I went in a subway and one of the employees asked me, said, you know, for our safety, would you please wear a mask when you come in again? And I felt ashamed because I knew better. You know, I knew better. I should have worn a mask. And I was embarrassed and I was frustrated. And at first I thought I was frustrated at him for having the gall to say that when I'm a customer. And then I realized that it was really just that I was frustrated with myself. And every time I've gone in there since then, I've worn a mask. And so I think that, you know, if you're changing the game by saying you have a mask requirement that some people might not follow, and you're going from 33% compliance to 66% compliance, well, you've done a pretty damn good job, and you still didn't have to shut the courthouse down. You know, so I don't know that anything is lost, in my view.
Okay, further discussion, further comments, further. Last chance. Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Wakefield,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Brown,
No.
Olson,
No.
Lightfon.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Do we have anything else on the unfinished business before we move on? Seeing none, okay. On to new business. Approved 2021 preliminary budget and set budget hearing for October 6th at 8:30 a.m. And we have preliminary budget sheets in front of us.
This does not include the Rogers.
It does not include the generator fund, no.
Yeah, I make the motion to table this. There was information on our table to start with. Pardon me?
Yeah, we can't make a motion to table because we have to approve today.
We can approve it in September, with the law says.
No, laws change, it's now August.
It is?
That's what.
Estimated tax statements have to be out by August 31st.
I do agree that there are things that are changing though, there's no doubt about that.
Okay, excuse me, I guess you remind me, I don't remember that. But the political information, I guess, we have on front of us here today. Passed out, I haven't read it all. Pierce County is very upset with the Lake Region Health Unit. It surprised me to see him pull out. They've threatened it before.
Well, I guess speaking as the county's district health board member, I've had conversations with my colleague on the district health board from Pierce County. He was of the opinion that their county commission is more or less unanimously against some of the portions of the budget pertaining to salary increases. And after hearing that and having my own opinions on the matter, I ended up having a conversation with Mike Steffen, who is the chairperson of the district health board, and sort of asked him what he felt should be done, as a result of this. And he said that he hoped that we could get a special session convened to come up with a more palatable budget. And I believe in my conversation with my colleague from Pierce County that would be, acceptable to them. It's certainly better than trying to ad hoc create a new budget in a combined board meeting on speakerphone with 4 counties. So.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be, if it's something where we're gonna have concerns from the other counties, it's gonna have to be something that's gonna have to be hashed out in another meeting before it. If we have time before that final meeting in October, we have to approve it. But
Yeah, I think it'll go that way, because even Mike Steffen said that he felt there'd be a few Benson County commissioners and that would be opposed to it. A few of, say, our commissioners were opposed to it, then you're not gonna pass it.
Yeah, and then the main concern is if you don't pass it on that conference call, then what do you do?
You'd have to make a budget.
Yeah.
Basically from scratch, trying to get everybody to agree at that meeting. So, I'll continue to push that we work on it so that we don't sort of have a lot of upheaval at that meeting.
Well,
Go smoothly.
And it's the same situation when we're approving the high and we move backwards. So, there's time to still readjust any budget downwards. So, where we're at.
Lucas, was there Pierce County commissioners at your last district health meeting? Did they approve this?
Well, the health board approved it, yes, but there were concerns levied by myself and the Pierce County commissioner, and we spoke briefly, he and I, after the meeting about it, and he sort of intoned to me that he felt at that time that his fellow commissioners on the Pierce County Commission would be pretty staunchly opposed to its passage. Since then, you've got this paper in front of you, you can see what it says, but it was clear to me also that they likely would not be in support of it.
Yeah, by reading the article, it sure now don't seem like they're going to be in support of this
No,
at all.
I don't think so.
Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see them pull out.
Well, I think if we can find a workable solution, of which I think that there is, there are reasonable alternatives. I don't foresee that being a problem now. If the other 3 counties were going to die on a hill for this, then maybe that would be a possibility, but I don't foresee that being the case.
Okay. Further discussion on preliminary budget?
And as you stated before, Chairman Lightfon, that it's, and approve it on the high end, you can go down, but we can't go up from this point forward. Right?
Right. I just want, my main concern always is that we have our preliminary budget in decent enough condition so that we don't have to send out a bunch of additional, whatever they're called, I can never remember the technical term, the taxation things that get sent out at this time of the year. So we only have to send them out to a certain amount of people, so if we get the budget in pretty good shape, we don't incur as much cost sending out more than we have to and things of that nature. And I think we're in pretty good shape this year simply because we had our health insurance costs come back already, which is good. And that was the big concern last year, is we had no clue where the health insurance costs were gonna go yet, so we had to put additional dollars in the budget and then back down from there. Overall, I think, if you look at it, I mean, even if we put some money in for a generator, we're still not in too bad shape. I mean, especially if we can look at, and again, that's the high, and we can always move backwards. So we can find our way back down and probably even hold even, get back down to that 87.48 if we maybe trim a little bit here and there. It's at least in the ballpark.
We're set up now as a mill levy go up.
Right now, the way we're set up, the mill levy would drop from 93.69 for the county to 90.81. But because of the taxable valuation increase, we actually are increasing taxes by about 3.81%, just because of the taxable valuation increase. Because we jumped from 59.303 for a mill to 63.819. Excuse me, 63.515. So.
Plus there was less new growth.
Yes. Which isn't surprising.
Pardon me?
Our numbers weren't as high for new growth.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a reduction.
Yes.
So we're looking at 63 mils, is that correct? Is that what you said?
90.81 would be the county's proposed mill levy. And a whole even would be 87.48.
What's the number for increase in share, then we gotta send out notifications, what's that level?
What's the number we have to send out notifications at? Anybody above a 10% increase for it. All right. And that's gonna be certain properties in this situation, but if you get your prelim budget 10% high, then almost everybody in the county is getting one. So it just saves money and it just makes more sense to try to have your budget in pretty good shape. I think we're in pretty good shape overall. It's just a matter of, like you said, we can, we're within 3.4 mils, 240 grand right now. So we could probably find that and get close to hold even if we really try. So I think it's in pretty good shape, I guess, personally, but I mean, how everybody else feels.
I'd make a motion to approve the 2021 preliminary budget, set the budget hearing for October 6th.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. Further discussion on the motion to approve the prelim budget and set the budget hearing for October 6th, which would be our first meeting of October at 8:38 a.m.
9, because this says,
Oh, is it gonna be 9 a.m.?
this says 8:30.
Oh, because our district health calls at 8:30.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
yeah.
9 o'clock's okay with you?
We have to do it after.
Yeah.
So hopefully you get this straightened out, otherwise 9 o'clock might be good.
We've only got 30 minutes, but better, John, we'll get it straightened out beforehand.
All right, we're calling it 9 o'clock then. 9 o'clock. Okay, further discussion on the motion.
A meeting, you can have this out in 30 minutes?
Well, I think district health will have a special meeting and hammer it out beforehand.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they're gonna hopefully adjust budget
Don't worry
previously.
about it.
Okay, any further discussion or comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of canceled checks.
second.
We have a motion in a second to approve canceled checks. Is it one or two?
Just one.
Just one. Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, further discussion on the motion? None, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Carries. Visitors and delegations, anybody got anything to chime in with? Nobody's on computer? You gotta like put up a card back there to tell us if anybody's on the computer, so I know if I'm talking to somebody out in cyberspace. That was. Yeah, do that, I don't know. Okay, portfolios, Commissioner Frith, let's go with you.
Don't have a whole lot, Sandy gave a good report and extension. I talked with Carrie yesterday, things are, progressing in her office. And they're now being allowed to wear masks in the courts. Hopefully, and I think, a lot of her staff, have been tested with no results of yet, so we're knocking on wood, they don't lose these numbers. So, that's kind of all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Wilson.
Things are pretty quiet also. Sheriff's Department started a new deputy yesterday. Other than that, everything's pretty good. LEC numbers are still hanging way up there, upper 80s, lower 90s. So everything's going good over there, I believe. Other than that, everything's pretty status quo.
Okay, good. Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, law enforcement's fine, and social service, I didn't make the last meeting, but I think we got it hammered out with indirect costs, is that correct, Adam?
Yep, that's all.
So I got.
Okay, Commissioner Whitfield.
Well, we've already talked about my updates, so, no, everything's good, except for the stuff that isn't.
Okay, I don't have anything too exciting either that I can think of. Yeah. We haven't really had any meetings since our last meeting for outside board entities, so I don't really have anything to add other than, yeah, that's it.
Everybody probably is aware of this, home rule, the charter committee voted to approve bringing the draft as written in 2018 before a public hearing on August 13th at 7 p.m. in the Memorial Gym. So. And the discussion was good and it seemed like everybody that was on the committee before and the new member, I mean, everybody seemed to think that it was a worthwhile document and we're gonna move forward with that and see what comes of the public hearing and then have an up-down vote on whether or not it goes before, whether or not, it will go before us either way, but whether it comes to us with a recommend to put on the ballot or not.
Okay, I'm gonna count that as announcements. That was an announcement to me. Anything else for announcements?
Anybody got any questions on the October convention? I'll have a lot of answers.
It's like we're going virtual, so.
Yeah, going virtual.
It's okay, I don't have to worry about going to Bismarck when I'm posted, so good. Yeah, I can have it on my phone again.
Burley's kind of a hotspot right now, so that's 2 months away.
Yeah, who knows what that's the thing, is who knows it's gonna be, things are gonna look like in 2 months. Okay, anything else? Seeing nothing, we are adjourned. This is a big piece of paper.